Now to our other top story, go ahead and check your bank account. Some people say they are already seeing their stimulus checks show up just 2 days after President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan into law. This first group of checks is going to people who have direct deposit set up through the IRS, and the next batch will be payments to taxpayers who did not provide direct deposit information with their 2019 or 2020 tax returns, and that is followed by paper checks or debit cards to those the IRS has no payment information for on file. But many still waiting, have more questions about the process, of course. So here at 11 Alive, we are where Atlanta speaks. So we are taking your questions to the experts tonight. Janu Her got some answers for you.
President Joe Biden's
It's $1,200, everybody. That is being paid out now. New stimulus payments is on the way to many of you guys. Billions of dollars have been allocated towards relief checks, and you may be able to claim a $2,000 stimulus check. Now that tax season's here, it can be easy to get lost in all the forms and applications. As a parent or guardian, you may qualify for a slew of new tax credits and deductions depending on your income level. The maximum tax credit per qualifying child is $2,000 for people 5 and under, or $3,000 for 6 and under. Additionally, you can receive a portion if you advance in the credits, as was the case last year. There are several requirements, though, to qualify for the child tax credit. The first is you must be a parent or a guardian who is filing taxes, that is, and according to the IRS, if your child dependent do qualify, they must have a social security number that is valid for employment in the U.S. They must also be under 17, and as a parent or guardian, you are eligible for the child tax credit if your adjusted gross income is less than $200,000 when filing individually, or less than $400,000 if you're filing a joint return with a spouse. And there are other state credits they may qualify for. Washington has a working families credit launch today. You can get that one too. In recent years, the effort has included changing the state's tax system to support the economic well-being. In 2021, analysis found that low-income people pay 17% of their taxes, while the middle-class people pay 11%, and the wealthiest pay just 3%. Programs like the Washington Working Families Tax Credit are riding this upside-down tax structure by making Washington tax less aggressive and more helpful to those that actually need the help, not to those that actually don't need the help. Plus, let's not forget about this. As many as 5,000 families in the county of Michigan have earned the Earned Income Tax Credit. This is a tax credit increase. The plan has been stated a priority for the Democratic-controlled legislature, and even the governor, that is since the start of the new political term last month, has approved it. If a family, for instance, is already eligible to receive the Earned Income Tax Credit, the state could tack up an extra 30%. Under the bill that passed in the Senate, if a family received $1,000 on their federal return via the Earned Income Tax Credit, they will ultimately receive another $300 on their state return to this. Federal Earned Income Tax Credit go as high as $6,000. Michigan already piggybacks off the federal tax credit and is one of the several states to do it, but it currently offers a 6% top-off, lagging behind the rate offered by most states. In a similar House version of the bill, that increase would be retroactive, so would apply for the 2022 tax season currently underway. So far, more than 70,000 Illinois residents claimed a federal earned income tax credit without claiming the state in 2022. And those who received the earned income last year meet residency and income requirements and file a return can qualify for the Illinois income tax credit. The state is just urging you that all taxpayers work together on this, as this can change each year.
Economy in the weeks and months to come. That's why House Democrats are focusing all week on easing inflation and bringing costs down. And I know that's what my Republican colleagues want to do as well. And while this may not be a perfect alternative, there are no perfect alternatives. This is a positive step towards decreasing the cost to our people of things that they must buy, fuel and food. To support that mission, I'm proud to bring the lower food and fuel contact to the floor today at Mr. Scott's request. America's farmers and ranchers have long fed our nation, and indeed much of the world. Despite their essential work, however, they have often struggled to turn a reliable profit in recent years because of rising expenses associated particularly with fertilizer, whose costs have gone up very substantially as a result of the crisis that we confront. By making fertilizer more affordable and by improving farmers' access to loans for precision agricultural technology. This legislation will help lower these production costs, which burden smaller farmers and contribute to higher consumer food prices. Additionally, this bill will lower gas prices by increasing biofuel adoption and investment, and by giving consumers greater fuel choices at the pump. Lack of competition in the meat and poultry processing industry has also jeopardized many of our family farmers and the people they feed. Competition is the essence of a free market. Competition is the essence of establishing prices that are reasonable and fair, both to producers and to...
The IRS has just announced that some people will be receiving a $121 extra crisis relief payment from the federal government. SNAP recipients can also expect to see some changes to their monthly benefits very soon. So watch the end to find out if you're eligible for the stimulus check. Now, the deadline to file your 2021 taxes in the country was almost a month ago, back on April 18th. But there are still millions of people who are waiting for their tax refund to arrive. Some of these individuals will have filed months ago, but still found themselves in the same position as those who filed late, as they are anticipating the arrival of their tax refund. Although this can be very frustrating, there can be a benefit to receiving your tax refund late. The good news for taxpayers is that the IRS is legally obligated to pay interest on refunds that have not been processed inside 45 days of the return being received. In 2021, the IRS had to pay out $3.3 billion to taxpayers in interest. Now, if you're waiting for a period longer than 45 days, the interest you get for your tax refund is decided by the federal short-term rate, as well as an extra 3%. So in the event someone is waiting for a tax refund worth about $3,000, there could be an extra $120 added up on top of the interest. And while most refunds are processed within 21 days, the agency is in the middle of a budget crisis. Now, from inflation to the stock market to the GOP, recession warning signs are flashing red all over the economy. That's especially bad news for the 40 million or so people who receive SNAP benefits. They count on their SNAP benefits more than ever during these times of economic contraction. The primary purpose of SNAP is to help the most vulnerable households starve off food insecurity, but a monthly injection of federal dollars benefits the entire economy, especially when the economy is moving in the wrong direction. Just before the crisis, the USDA released a report that called SNAP an automatic stabilizer for the economy. The premise is that low SNAP benefits, recipients typically spend their benefits shortly after receiving them, which the USDA explains has a cascading effect throughout the economy. When recipients spend that money, that spending generates income for the people who produce, transport, and sell the foods. Folks, we have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you don't want to miss out on this. Taxpayers in the United States have just weeks left to claim a check worth up to $1,800. To claim a check worth up to $800. Colorado Governor Jared Polis and state Senate leadership said in an announcement this week that the payments, which serve as a